Inconceivable. 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 Inconceivable.
All right. Welcome to Inconceivable. I'm William.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Wesley. And we're so glad you're with us, but we will not grant you the rank of master.
So
Ouch.
sad.
That's tough.
And it's our season finale.
Oh, it is our season finale.
Woo! And I am the most excited to be rid of this corner that we filmed
Yeah.
in.
We will be back pretty shortly, beginning of next year, and with a little bit of update to our set. Won't be nothing too grand, but it'll definitely be an upgrade. So
We'll also have a lot of new content coming your way because a lot of cool stuff is coming out.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
So keep an eye out on the website for updates on that. So yeah, we will get right into it, and I'm gonna start off talking about, as it's the end of the year, you know, we talk a lot about like the Oscars and our like favorite movies, but this year I had a new all-time favorite animated movie. So this includes all Disney, Pixar, and anime and anything related to that, and that movie is Your Name.
Yeah, I cried.
I almost cried, but I'm dead inside, so it was a rough time.
Spoiler alert, there will be lots of spoilers for this.
And everything else, probably. Or
And everything else. I think you could just chalk us up as a spoiler-filled
That
podcast.
is our podcast.
I don't think we're ever going to avoid that.
Yeah.
So
Whenever
just-
we've talked about things that have already happened as far as shows or movies, you can basically assume
Yeah.
that there's going to be spoilers. We will do our best to tell you ahead of time anyways, because some of you guys will just jump in on any episode. But yeah, I highly recommend, if this is something that's even in a slight interest in you, please go see it first, because this movie is, like I said, my favorite animated movie. So I'm not, like, even though I love anime, I am not partial to anime movies any more than any other animated movie. So my favorite anime animated movie before this was Howl's Moving Castle, and that was only like, I'm not even sure if that was top 10, to be honest. There's just so many good Disney and a few DreamWorks films and just other miscellaneous animated films that are just so good. It's a hard, thing to get up there. And this one, no delay, I immediately knew that this was my favorite as soon as I watched it.
Cool.
I watched it in theaters. You watched it. I bought it on DVD as soon as it came out and made these two watch it.
I had to listen to him for months, just keep talking about it, saying, oh, it's such a good movie. I'm like, great.
Tell us a little bit about it.
So, Your Name is about, it starts off pretty simple and with some comedic value with the fact that these two main characters have inexplicably...
I didn't like that, actually.
have inexplicably switched bodies. And it seems to be occurring every day. So every time they go... he says in the movie, the trigger is sleep. The reason is unknown. And so they're just trying to figure out what the heck is going on and what can they do to make this like the most like minimal impact possible in their lives, because they're literally screwing each other's lives up because they are acting like they have amnesia, because they literally think they're just dreaming for the first few times this happens.
Yeah.
So they do a lot of laughs and stuff like that. It's a really great way of setting up some interest and figuring out what's going on, and it's really lighthearted. Nothing like too at stake. And
Not
then
the beginning.
Yeah, not at the beginning. Yeah. And then
In fact, I would say that the beginning of the movie feels completely different from the end of it.
Oh,
Definitely.
absolutely.
Like more so than any movie normally is.
Yeah.
There's usually a particular tone for a movie, and this one kind of had two different ones.
Right.
But not in like a Thor
No.
Ragnarok kind of way.
Right. Yeah. Well, because everything's
We already talked
lighthearted,
about that.
and then all of a sudden they stop switching. But more than stop switching, they can't communicate anymore, and they can't figure out why. So they both live in Japan, but they live far away from each other in Japan. So he tries to get in touch with the guy tries to get in touch with the girl, only to find out that the place that she's from is completely destroyed by a meteor. But even more confusing, that meteor struck 3 years ago, even though it was only last week since the last time they talked.
So there's a lot of ensuing mystery.
Exactly, and they figured that out, and that's when it gets really tense.
Yeah.
Events unfold, and you are figuring it out with the character, and I always prefer that way of storytelling, and they do it so freaking well.
Yeah, it's one of the first movies that actually had genuine plot twists for me.
Yes.
That I didn't see coming. It was the first time I've been surprised by a movie in a long time.
And as I'm walking through this plot, the moment that this movie grabbed me by the neck was when they finally met again at the top of the mountain, and they were writing each other's names on their hands, names, quotations, and pen dropped in the middle of her writing down her name on his hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in the theater, and I audibly gasped. I don't gasp for much. I was straight up in the theater, just like gasp.
You were shook.
I was shook.
William was shook.
I was shook. From that moment on in the movie, I was on the edge of my seat. Like, literally on the edge of my seat. I had my hands, on my chin. Like, I'm concerned. What's going to happen? And I haven't been, this intently, focused on a movie in a long time.
Sorry. You guys can't see what we're doing yet.
But, holy crap, it was tense, and I will talk about it more, sure, but as, just going through the plot, it ended so I set that up wrong.
Satisfactively.
Yes.
It was a satisfying ending.
It had a very satisfying ending.
Yes, and it was a good ending.
Yeah, it
which
was.
Didn't seem like it was going to do that
Satisfaction.
because the movie set up about, I'd say 5 times where you thought the movie could just ended. Because the thing that this movie also have is really good music, and it has a few theme songs. And what I mean by theme songs is lots of music with also its own lyrics.
I know, me and William were watching it, and a song comes up, and I'm like, I know that one. You've played that one.
Yeah.
And William's just like, oh yeah, okay, that's a song. And I'm just like, it was the first one I recognized.
I listened to the soundtrack so much because I love the music so much, and they have so many of those set pieces. I think they have 4 or 5 of those set piece songs. And the thing is that a few of those are in that last third of the movie from that pen dropping scene there on in. And that's when it gets really tense. And they'll have these things that you're used to when a movie ends where the music starts and then it pans off.
So that's another thing is you think the movie's going to end 3 different, 4 or 5 different times.
It was like Return of the King all over again.
The movie could end at any moment.
I remember when we were watching that scene with the pen drops, and I was just sitting down, and I'm like, oh, this is great. They're gonna talk to each other. The pen drops, and I'm just like, whoa, no, don't do that. I need to know what happens now. And I don't I scream a lot at movies in general, but this movie it definitely was playing with my heartstrings a lot, and that was really cool because a lot of movies they're pretty predictable nowadays, you know. Mm-hmm. So this one I'd seen an AMV for it, a music video for it that was made, so I kind of saw what happened in the end, but I didn't really remember it, so I was like, that might have been from something else or whatever. But I was watching this, and I'm just like, I really hope that it does not end in a crappy way. Yes,
because it totally could have.
Right now.
And you mentioned to me, the movie had set up a lot of interesting stuff and had the merit to end with that kind of sappy ending. It totally could have done that.
The movie had they would have been justified having a sad ending.
Yeah.
The movie was good enough.
Yeah.
All the way through, and everything made sense. They didn't have to give you a good ending.
No.
And
I still would have liked it almost just as much. And I only like it more because of the happy ending, because happy endings are harder to pull off. Yeah. And they did it in such a satisfying way because they teased it in such a good way.
It wasn't okay, everything that happened in the movie didn't matter.
Yeah,
because it had a happy ending. You know what I mean?
They made it seem no, this is almost a miracle that this is something special, and
exactly.
you were a part of this. You know,
I feel like that's the danger or hardship in doing a happy ending is that if you do it wrong, you make it feel like the whole movie didn't matter. Yep. Yeah,
you do know when. You know that the directors and the creators of the movie are doing a really good job when you are getting very mad at the movie because you really care about the characters. I mean, it's not just oh, this movie sucks, I hate everything about it. It's no, don't do that to this character. We need this to happen to them. I don't want these 2 characters to be separated. I need them to meet and love each other.
It's not them, the characters, it's not about them retaking something they already had. It's about at the end, in the happy ending, they both gain something. Mm-hmm. So
because they don't remember most of it.
Exactly.
So it's they're just they have that empty part of them. It's I don't understand what this is, but it just feels you feel right. You know.
Yeah. And you were with them from the beginning of this experience.
And it's hard because you get to the point in the movie towards the end where you know more about what's happened from looking at the movie than the people in the movie themselves, which is a weird position to be in because you weren't always at that point. You know, you switched positions there. And speaking of the characters across the board were amazing. I not only loved the main characters, I cared about all of them.
I like the sister.
I
She was
also
great.
love the side characters. The little sister,
I'm gonna go to school early.
just this one.
My sister's acting weird.
She's lost it. She's finally lost it. Yeah, all the side characters were so good. I liked all of them. They were all super interesting. They all had their little moments of like character development.
Yeah, it was nice that they weren't like very 2D characters,
Yeah.
two-dimensional. Because that's, people will make movies and they'll be like, okay, here's the main characters and we want to like them, but then there's all the side characters that are basically there for filler. But this one, that's one of the things I like about anime is that they give time and effort to a lot of the characters to flesh them out, to make it feel like it's a very real world and that there's not just the history behind the main characters, but also everyone else.
Yep. Just as the movie says, the threads represents the time and it tangles and twists and turns and it sometimes interconnects and
Time.
just like the
It's a wibbly wobbly.
Wami stuff.
yes. And the movie is also very good about rewarding people who are paying attention. There is not much in this movie that goes wasted or is just thrown out there for no reason. There's a lot of mentions to stuff that matters later in the
It's like
movie.
The Office. It rewards you for watching it.
Really? I never have made that connection. No.
I have. William and I have.
Yeah, sure.
But it's so... I really appreciate movies that do that because I hate wasted screen time. And this movie, although at first may seem like, because it's so lighthearted in nature, may seem like there's a lot of frivolous stuff, later comes into play. And really neat in ways that honestly make a lot of sense and don't feel like they're forced in there.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, remember this little nod here? We're going to nod that again,
Also, the animation was beautiful. It was stunning.
Yeah,
Pretty much every scene.
I took it for granted. I could understand. I knew it was good. I've seen animation like that before. So not saying it wasn't beautiful. I took it for granted because I was like, it's cool.
I really, really love the animation. I love the art style that was going for it, and it did a really good job at being that and not trying to be like, oh, we're not trying to push the boundaries of realism or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's like it's fully aware that it's an animation, and but it just does it I feel like it really complements the story too, honestly.
Oh, yeah. When they're dancing for that ceremony with the rice, I can tell it was CGI.
Yeah,
because it was the way that their movements were.
To my understanding, everything was hand drawn,
Like it was
and
motion
then
capture.
no,
Dancing.
there was no motion.
Really?
Yeah, no, everything
I'm
is
impressed then.
Yeah, Wesley.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, it looked like two people were really dancing. So.
That's just because
so
they're that good.
They definitely did some CGI, not for they did for the movement, but not for the actual creation of the visuals. So that's all you see there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sorry, audience, if you are yelling at me. You guys know I am 100% wrong. That's just my understanding. So I don't have the sources to prove that, but that's what I've heard from word of mouth. So I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but that's my best understanding, and I haven't heard it otherwise. So that's what I'm going with. But yeah, this movie. It was so good, and the one thing that I'm always very critical about movies and TV shows in general is the pacing, and how it keeps you interested in the importance of how things move and because it's not just about keeping things interesting, it's also allowing things to simmer so it has weight, and then it's all this back and forth depending on, and it's different for every type of genre of thing that you go for. It requires different pacing. And this movie trying to tackle a few things, it being like a very comedy central and lighthearted in the beginning, but then very tenseful and dramatic towards the end, and then the whole thing being lined with being romantic while not seeing romantic at first, later definitely being romantic.
Yeah.
And I think that was also interesting that it wasn't set up like a romantic thing. In fact, the two characters that were switching bodies were trying to set up with other people in their lives. And I thought
she was trying to set him up with a girl in his life, but I don't remember him trying to set her up.
I don't know if it was or not.
I don't think so. I think he was just mostly concerned about her setting him up, which
Right.
is what he didn't want to have happen.
So I think I liked that take on it because it didn't make it feel like they were destined to be. It made it feel like it made sense after everything that they've been through by getting to that
because
point.
he was
in the movie.
really interested in that other girl for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
She helped him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that was I think that was really cool. It made me really want to root for them more than like if it was just set up that way in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like if they just set up the whole body switching scenario and then they started like, oh, I really like this person, I love everything that they do. It would have been way like corny.
It would have been a different movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really would have been because it puts a whole different spin on what they're doing it for.
Now you say this is your favorite animated movie, period. I was moved by this movie. Literally. I don't know if I can go that far, but it is definitely the best movie that I've seen all year. It's probably the best movie I've seen in recent memory.
Wow.
Like, I'll cover all my bases and say I'm not sure, but I can't remember the last time.
And you are someone who watches very little anime.
Yeah, I'm not.
There's no anime bias here at all.
I'm not big into anime, and this movie, it's the first time I felt real feelings watching a movie. Like, it made me think some things. Like, I went to Facebook and I was like, I have feels.
You do that a lot.
They'd be strong.
I got a lot going on. In my head.
But yeah, I also was like very moved. I didn't cry watching the movie the first time I saw it because I was so wrapped up in wanting to make sure that the movie didn't end the way that I was thinking it might.
Yeah.
I definitely did cry on the way home though after like processing everything that happened.
I just imagine you right now.
And of course, I was listening to the soundtrack. As soon as I get out of the theater into the car, I immediately pop the soundtrack on so I can kind of like relive.
You just want to make yourself cry at that point. You're like,
you're
I
asking
gotta
for it,
listen to the music.
Well, because it's hard because like I wanted to watch it again, but you're in the theater, so you can't just like hit the rewind button to watch it again.
That is true. You go to the soundtrack when you want to have that feeling.
Yeah,
again.
like you're like reliving the movie,
Pretty much.
And I will say I've watched this movie 4 times now. It definitely has a great rewatch value because the timeline. This is the only complaint that I have heard is that for the first time watching the timeline may be a little bit confusing, and that's because you're not aware of the 3-year
I
separation.
expressed that too. At the beginning of the movie, I was a little confused.
But
I started to come up with it for a little while. I'm just like, they can't really interact with each other like on the phone or something. What's going on? Is there like a time difference?
Yeah, you actually did say that like I think 5 minutes before it was revealed, and I was actually impressed by that.
I can sometimes pick up on certain things in movies.
Yeah, Alex
but with this one, it was difficult.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm pretty great.
Now,
Alex is awesome.
Now, this was nothing on the level.
You have an awesome scarf, though. I like that.
This is nothing on the level of, like, say, Inception, or anything like that.
It's not confusing like Inception.
No. There's just some things that you miss.
It's the movie's very smart. That's why it's like. There's a lot that's going on, but not in a bad way. It's just the movie's really covered all of its bases.
Right. I think the feeling is that if a movie like Inception, you're going into it and you're ready to be really focusing about every detail, you go into this movie, it doesn't give you a reason to focus about every single detail.
The movie's very detailed.
So you may not have the right mentality going into the movie, thinking that every single thing that you see and witness is important, and that's why the time thing is confusing because that's when it's a secret. So, but also, with that being said, the risk for reward is way better because the 3-year time difference really made a difference to how intense this plot was and made it really tense.
Well, the thing about this movie, what makes it so special, is that nowadays we have pretty much watered down movies that people have a recipe for how a movie should go because they know how people like certain movies and they'll be okay, let's make more of that and let's make it a franchise. This one, it's a standalone movie and it's interesting and it makes you think, and that is really nice nowadays because
I'm content with standalone movies.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
I like
many sequels.
you witnessed a whole story. You know what I mean? Like it's
I especially more with that with shows now because shows especially really want to be series oriented.
I know I can't. That's why I don't watch a lot of TV shows. I can't do it.
You saw what's the one about also to do with time travel? Erased.
Erased, yes.
Yes, I won't say much about that, but that's a really.
I don't know what that is.
You would like Erased. It's a very simple 1-season anime. Very rare these days. Just a nice story told out. Definitely one of the better ones I've seen.
Tale.
Yeah.
One Piece.
Yeah, no kidding.
Shows.
So yeah, and I think wrapping this up, looking back on it, I've seen this thing 4 times now, and I can't think of anything significant that I don't like about this movie. Because, like I said, the only thing that I can think about that I've heard people say was it's a little bit, not terribly confusing, but just a little things were missed from the first time watching. But the second time watching, you pick those things up, and it adds that rewatch value.
That'd be the only thing that I would say about it.
Well, also going back to Wesley not having watched a lot of anime, this is a really great movie for people who don't watch anime to watch, because it's not.
It's just a good movie.
It's not
it's not.
It's not super crazy or anything. It's not over the top. It can be kind of weird at times, but I think people can handle it considering all the weird stuff anime.
And William pointed out like a super romantic thing that only anime was gonna pull off. What would you say?
Yes.
Would you tell that again?
So something that people wouldn't recognize who don't recognize Japanese is that one of the plot twists was when the guy was writing. I'm blanking on the names. I do know the names of these characters, I swear. When the guy was writing the name down on the girl's hand, her name starts out the same way as I love you, which is what he wrote on her hand.
Yeah.
One of my friends also pointed out the significance of that, by the way, saying that that's what she needed, was not his name because...
But that I love you.
Right, because...
Yeah. So he started to write her name, but instead wrote I love you. Yeah.
And the reason why that's also important, because you got to think about it, she was forgetting things, and even if she remembered the name, that wasn't going to have a big significance because she didn't know the significance of the person. So by writing down "I love you" instead of his name,
that was
like
her drive now.
Yeah, it's like this is someone that means
Yeah.
something to me. So that was also super clever, and that was just the point where it's like, oh, tears. I
know. that was when the I was interested the whole way through, but that was when the movie really emotionally gripped me.
Yeah.
That was my first audible. Oh, was when he
I like how your reaction was just like, yours was like, oh, and mine was like, no, don't do that. Get something better.
Well, I was literally literally when that happened, I was like, oh my word!
Because that's one of the advantages it had. Because we didn't know it doesn't actually show it, but we didn't know that was a really good plot twist.
It makes me wish I knew Japanese.
It was even good enough not knowing that, but afterwards hearing that's
yeah. So and not coming from anime, there will be some things that you'll miss that. However, that being said, I highly recommend this to someone who's trying to introduce someone to anime, because my case for getting into anime is that
they're still trying to introduce
you to anime.
Slow.
Yeah, it's that
and mild.
You gotta see that anime is awesome because anime tells stories that no other media platform tells. It does really creative and unique storylines. That's why Death Note got me into it, because that was the thing that pulled me in. It's like, whoa, I didn't know a story like this could exist, and this is amazing.
I still finished it. William and I are going to finish it during Christmas break.
So this is something that would have been very difficult to pull off in a different media format, or it doesn't make sense to really exist. So this is a great way to encapsulate what anime has to offer in a more attainable basis for someone who doesn't come from anime. So yeah,
I'd say it's a very flattering introduction to anime, because it doesn't have a lot of the weird stuff you can get.
It's still a little weird, though. It's weird enough for you to be like, oh, this is different from regular, Western TV shows and movies.
Yeah. All right.
It's good.
Good stuff. Highly, highly, highly recommended. If that wasn't clear enough,
I recommend it.
Yeah.
I would also.
Good. Should probably watch it again.
I would also recommend one of our sponsors being Nerd Caliber. Nerd Caliber, since 2010, has been bringing you coverage of all sorts of things nerdy, both on its website, nerdcaliber.com, and its YouTube channel. They have everything from movie, TV, and game reviews to how-to articles and videos to opinion and thought pieces on the topics of the day. But Nerd Caliber is best known for its convention coverage, and in particular, cosplay at conventions. This website features new photo galleries from recent cons nearly every day, and the YouTube channel has new video interviews, funny skits, cosplay showcase compilations multiple times a week. In addition, Nerd Caliber has added new regular features like its weekly Nerd News video roundtable live on Facebook at 8 p.m. Each Wednesday evening, new to the website, is the gaming news roundup called Patch Notes, and on YouTube, the cosplay creator interviews behind the scenes, moderated by award-winning master cosplayer Lucky Grimm. Check out Nerd Caliber on the web, or on YouTube, or on Facebook for tons of nerdy fun. Thank you, Nerd Caliber.
Sorry, William.
Every time.
Every time. They're not going to
Well, because
stop.
when you wrapped it around your face and then you were doing this, I was like,
Here's
are you a terrorist?
No, jeez.
He's like, no, ninja.
No.
Ninja.
So for you who are listening to the podcast, I wrapped my scarf around my face and I was pretending to be a ninja, and Wesley took it the wrong way.
Was the scarf also wrapped around your head?
Yes, it is.
Okay, well, it kind of makes that
Just-
that turban look a little.
We're going to talk about Infinity War.
We are.
Yeah, we are. So the trailer dropped a little while ago. I'll whoop Gary.
Gary.
Good grief.
Gary the Time
I
Goblin.
don't like being
He
limited.
needs his spotlight. 2 seconds of fame.
Or 20 minutes.
Hey.
Alright, sorry. So yeah, Infinity War. The trailer dropped a little while ago, and I must say
It dropped hard.
It did drop hard. There's like almost 100 million views on the
It
trailer.
was nuts.
Yeah. But yeah, I was pretty excited for
It was
this
like
movie.
it was like watching a 5-minute long Marvel movie.
It was 2.5 minutes.
Whatever it was, that was
Initial impressions. I haven't seen a trailer in a long time that had me this hyped.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty excited for the movie.
Well,
in
there's
general.
also like 10 years of hype behind it. Like how long?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been like,
Yeah.
let's see,
So,
2012. It's like 5 years.
You were hyped for this movie without seeing the trailer, so it's like
I was excited
That's why
already.
the movie. It was
Yeah.
like, whoa.
Well, I knew that a lot of characters were going to be in it, and so I was pretty excited. And also, we finally get to see Thanos do something, and not just sit around or grab a gauntlet and be like, hey, I'm next, or whatever. I don't care. But yeah, this trailer, it got me really, really excited because it shows a lot of characters that we haven't seen either in a couple years or we're going to see a lot more of. It shows us characters who are going to interact for the first time, like Doctor Strange and Tony Stark. I'm really excited for that because those guys are like the snarky, smart aleck kind of characters.
Team Smarts.
Pretty much.
People have already divided some of the.
And also, Bruce Banner's also going to be there too, so
Yeah.
there's going to be like 3 smart guys and probably some more smart people.
And that bald guy from Doctor Strange, I can't remember his name.
Wong?
Wong.
How do you forget Wong?
I was wrong about his name.
Shut up!
And he lives with us. I am gonna be like in a fit of rage if people don't die. And I know that sounds
I know
weird.
people are going to die.
I know that sounds weird, but like
Well, that's
we
the
need
thing.
real consequences.
That's the thing
for
about
this.
Marvel movies,
Like,
is that not a lot of people die.
Exactly. Marvel, you're not good at bringing us real consequences. Everything always ends up being okay. Even if you make it look sad, it's still okay.
And that was
Like-
something that was interesting about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is that a character actually died.
Yeah.
Yondu,
Yeah.
He died.
Yeah.
It was like, wow, we haven't seen real character
And that-
death in a while.
And that hurt because you actually cared about him right
No,
until
you like
he
Yondu.
died.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't care about him a lot in the first movie,
No.
but in this movie, it's like, oh, we really like this character. Oh, you like him so much,
I
we're
was
gonna
so
kill him.
glad
Yeah.
he finally got the fin
He got
because
the fin and everything.
he looked more like his comic book counterpart.
I appreciated that. Yeah, and that was one of the things I was thinking about. I was wondering who's gonna die in this because people do have to die. Some people have said that they're
I want to
gonna
see
leave.
Iron Man go. I want to see Captain America go because I want to
He's
see
not gonna
Bucky
be
take
Captain
his
America
place.
in this one.
Nomad.
Technically,
I know. He's
No, not.
Nomad.
He's just Steve Rogers, but yeah. Sure.
Well, whatever. They should call him Nomad because that's cool. That's
Okay.
that's what actually happens to him. And I want to see. So I want to see Steve go. I want to see Iron Man go. They don't
like-
both have to go, but I feel like one of them has
I
to.
feel like it's time. They've had a lot of movies, and I do love Captain America and I do love Iron Man, but it feels like they should be passing on the torch to the next generation of Marvel superheroes.
The way I see it, one of those two has to go.
I think it's going to be...
They might both go, but one of them has to.
Honestly, I think Robert Downey Jr. is such a pivotal actor in the MCU, and he said that he really loves doing Iron Man. Like, it's this thing that brought him back to, fame and such. Also, let's see, Steve Rogers, let's see, Chris Evans, he has said that he wants to end pretty soon. And I'm thinking that this would be a good segue for him to leave the MCU. It's going to be freaking sad.
Let me just tell you, Bucky as Captain America is a popular character. People really like that, so they could go that route.
And that's another thing. Bucky's back in this one, and he's got a new arm.
Yeah.
I'm so happy because I really like Bucky, and I love Steve, and I just love seeing that they're going to be in this movie, and they're going to be best buds again. And also, it looks like a lot of stuff is going to be happening in Wakanda, I think, which is cool because we haven't even seen Black Panther yet.
Which
and they're already
I
gearing
think you're
up for it,
right.
yeah.
That would be that would be a cool thing because Black Panther comes out February, and that would give it even more relevance. It's like, oh, a lot of this is happening in Wakanda.
Mm-hmm.
We just saw a movie in Wakanda. Like, yeah.
I'm pretty excited for that. And also, I feel like Vision, he's gonna have to die because he literally has an Infinity Stone in his head.
I think that's gonna be the one where you think he dies and he doesn't, and I'm okay with that because I want to see more of him.
I have that exact same feeling.
I think that one of the two big guns is gonna die, and then they're gonna make you think Vision dies, but he comes back, and I'm okay with that because I want to see more of Vision. I like Vision.
Yeah,
I like him a lot.
And that's also this. The trailer brought up a lot of questions because it shows Wanda and Vision, and they're together, but Vision is actually in human form with the gem
they
inside
get
his
married
head.
in the comics.
But
so.
I don't understand that because did he get a new body? Also,
him being human.
Yeah, and
what if it's a dream sequence?
Maybe that would make sense, but
she's dreaming, or
that would make a lot more sense because also after the events of Civil War, she's basically a fugitive from the world. Like all those superheroes that did not.
And maybe they use elements from. So in the comics, her psychic abilities got so far to the point where she literally created a different reality. So her like dreams could be really powerful. So maybe that plays a part.
I do look forward to seeing everyone throw down with Thanos. And originally it was going to be Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2. They've scrapped the name for the second one. So is this going to be a cliffhanger? What do you guys think?
I think
would highly expect it to be.
I think they scrapped the name to put us more in the dark about what would happen at the end.
Because there's still a lot of superhero movies that are coming out in between that time, like Captain Marvel and I think a couple other ones.
And that kind of... So, Infinity War obviously won't be the end of the MCU, but it's going to function very much like a soft reboot.
Yeah.
Like we're going to lose a lot of characters and not see them again. And some other characters are going to move into their spots.
That's going to be rough.
I would imagine that if there is some sort of ending to this movie, it's going to be very Empire Strikes Back feel. Where,
it's going to be really dark.
Yeah, it's going to be dark.
Yeah.
It's like, that ended.
Thanos has
Hope just got a lot less possible,
Yeah.
So, but there's going to be... That's my expectation, is that there's going to be a close, but it's not going to be a happy close, but there is going to be a close.
Yeah. And I'm excited for the future of the MCU because there's a lot of new characters that they're going to introduce that I'm really excited to see.
I'm really excited because it feels like... obviously with the Avengers, it's always characters coming together, but it also feels like there's going to be a lot of consequences with this one because you watch Thanos, he's fighting all of them. He's fighting Iron Man, he's fighting Spider-Man, and they're getting their butts handed to them. And yeah, also, speaking of Spider-Man, the Iron Spider, he's going to be wearing that in this one, and I'm wondering what that's going to do compared to his other tech suit.
It's its own thing. Because the Iron Spider is it's all red and gold. It actually looks more like Spider-Man's current suit in the comic books with the glowing eyes and stuff.
It's weird though because his other suit already has a bunch of tech inside of it. So is this just like an armored version of that? Because originally the Iron Spider was given to him by Tony Stark in the Civil War.
Civil War,
yeah, and that
it was like a weaponized Spider-Man suit.
Yeah,
basically.
and before that, he literally had just the regular Spider-Man suit, but in this one, he already has a weaponized Spider-Man suit. So I'm wondering what that's supposed to do. I don't get it. What do you think, Will? Are you excited for this movie?
I will say my hype was very low for that. I don't usually get... there's very few movies I get hyped for without there being some sort of content produced for it. So my hype was pretty low for this, but after the trailer... the last trailer that made me this hype for a movie was the Star Wars 7 trailer. That was the last one that got me... And that one was expecting, too. But that had that same... This one came out of the blue. It was like, Infinity War trailer. I guess I should watch that. And I watched it. I was like, damn. That was good. I'm officially pumped for this.
I'm usually excited for Marvel movies.
Alex is usually like, damn.
I'm just like, yep. Take my money.
But I guess it's just for me, I try to lowball movies more often now. I try to do that in general, and I let that slip for Ragnarok, and guess what? I got overhyped for it, and it didn't meet those overhyped It was a great movie, like I said last episode, but it didn't meet those overhyped expectations, and I don't want movies to do that for me,
Yeah.
But I gotta say, this movie has built some expectations now. I feel like my expectations right now is that this is going to be clear cut the best Avengers Marvel movie that there is.
I hope so, because they've been building up to
in
this
Age of
for years.
Ultron is my least favorite MCU movie so far.
Yeah, it was kind of disappointing.
So
it wasn't
we haven't-
bad, but it was
I enjoyed
not.
it. It was fun, but it was rough coming off of the first Avengers movie. It's like, okay, we've done the whole getting them all together. Now we have to do another one where there's a new baddie, but it's not the guy who we showed in the last movie who's coming. I did enjoy Ultron, but
I did too.
was-
I'm indifferent about him.
It wasn't the. I don't know. I should go back and watch Age of Ultron. Actually, you
probably watch all of them.
It after this.
Yeah, see, that's another thing. I didn't feel like I wanted to watch that movie again after I saw it. I saw like that was good, but I don't want to watch it again. So I'll probably watch it again at some point just so I can get more, like, I want to watch more Marvel movies leading up to Infinity War,
that
so
is
that'll be
rough.
one of them.
I really want to watch. I keep telling myself, like, I want to watch all the Marvel movies before the next movie comes out. That is very difficult to do.
You can do one a week and you'll be
I'm not
just
so
about
interested
there.
because like you said, there's a lot of Marvel movies that I'm just like, that was good. I'm not gonna watch it again though.
Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3. I wish I hadn't even watched that the first time.
You haven't even seen it though, have you? Iron Man.
Honestly, first Captain America movie, I can take it or leave it. And the Captain America series is a weird one for me because first one, take it or leave it. Winter Soldier is arguably my favorite MCU movie, and then Civil War, it was
It's
whatever. I
so
didn't really
fascinating that the first Captain America is so lukewarm, but the second one is so unanimously amazing.
Like it. Yeah.
It also feels like a standalone movie, which is great.
Yeah. And I think I can't think of another sequel that's been like far superior to its first one. Can you think of
Empire Strikes
Toy Story
Back.
2.
Toy Story? What?
He's not wrong.
I don't
Lord
know
of the
about
Rings?
that.
Are we talking about series here or just like sequels?
Just sequels. I feel like a lot of sequels are either equal
Empire
or
Strikes
less.
Back was a good comparison.
That was a good one.
Yeah. That's usually people's favorite Star Wars movie.
That's fair.
Also, going from Thor Ragnarok to Infinity War, it looks like Loki has the Infinity Stone or the.
It's been
he has a
confirmed
cube.
Loki will be on Thanos' side for Infinity War.
did
That
hear
does not
something
surprise
about
me. And it was really, I found that disappointing because they made it clear in the trailer that's what was going to happen. But after coming out of Ragnarok, I was like, could Loki be a good guy? Like,
No.
That's the problem. Is like Loki goes back and forth so much. I think he's mostly just in.
he's a wild card.
Whatever situation he
Loki's
is
on
in,
Loki's
it's in,
team.
yeah, it's in his,
Yeah.
he's for himself.
I do what I want!
But so what I like, so with Age of Ultron, because of the way that it was, I feel like because Age of Ultron was a disappointment, actually makes me feel like it's been really long since we've seen an Avengers movie.
Civil War is kind of like Avengers 2.5, but still.
I know, but maybe that's another reason is because I also didn't really like that movie. So for me, it's almost like I haven't had an enjoyable Avengers team up since the first one, like since the original.
I'm just glad that we finally get to see the big baddie like Thanos because again, I wasn't really a big comic book fan when I was watching the movies originally. I haven't read a lot of comics, but after
Should rectify that this year.
yeah, after seeing Thanos in the original Avengers, like the after credits, like I looked him up, I tried to figure out who he was and stuff, and then it just kept building up for him to, become a really big character, so that he was going to be. Is he like the biggest villain to the Avengers? Do you know?
Yes, the only person that's bigger would be Galactus, who's
Bigger,
literally
physically bigger,
he eats
yeah.
planets.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so Thanos and Galactus and Doctor Doom, I'd say those three are the biggest Marvel villains. They cause the most universal chaos.
Yeah.
And they're saving those other big players for much further down the universe because after, I would say, Thor is kind of underrated as far as the impact it's going to make on Marvel in the long run because I'm sure it gave Marvel...
the whole Asgard thing, that's gonna have some big
I'm not talking
implications
about the
later
plot.
on.
I'm talking about like outside of that. Like I think they realized that, hey, look, we can successfully make stuff not per the traditional superhero movie format.
Yeah.
This is like And shortly after that, they're saying, like, yep, we've got movies planned for basically, like, 20 years from now. Like, it's nuts. You thought planning 4 years in advance was pretty bad, like, a few years back? No, they've got movies planned for your children.
I know.
You
And
Yeah,
I saw some reports out for that, and I'm like, wow, I'm going to be watching MCU movies with my kids.
Yep.
My entire life. It's not going
crazy.
to end.
That's one of my worst predictions ever, is that I thought that superhero movies were going to be a fad, and at some point... it gets worse.
I was around people who I never thought that. I was like, they're here to stay.
And to get this even worse, I thought that at some point, video game movies were also going to have their time to shine, but also be a fad.
Nope, that still hasn't happened yet.
Still hasn't happened. One day we might get a half-decent video game movie.
Yeah, I'd like to see some
Tomb
more
Raider's coming out,
more.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's just
that
going to
should
be another.
good, but
Nah.
there's so many.
Hey, look, a pretty girl. And she
There's so
does
many
stuff.
There's so many video game movies that should have been good that weren't. So, yeah.
I don't know.
But
I'm really hoping that this movie doesn't feel bloated because, again, that's the thing about the Avengers movies is that
we've had proof of this working though already.
Yeah,
Like
Civil
Guardians
War.
of
It
the
felt
Galaxy
like
and-
Civil War, while it wasn't a great movie, it did give a lot of characters time to shine.
Although Civil War felt forced for me, and I just will never. They hurt my feelings. I'll never.
If you know the Civil War storyline, then
it was
it's
a
rough.
big disappointment for me because that's such a cool story, and they really only used the name.
Yeah, I guess, but I'm also wondering what the repercussions of Civil War is going to have on this movie because they're basically the Avengers are split. You don't know who is who's on which side, but they're not fighting. I think I know Steve is in Wakanda, but is everyone else in Wakanda as well?
Steve and Bucky are in
Steve and
Wakanda.
Bucky is Wanda, is Ant-Man.
I don't think so.
I want to understand where people are, what's going on exactly, and yeah, I'm just wondering about the repercussions from the other movies because that's one of the nice things about Marvel movies is that they all tie in together. So Civil War is going to impact this. Ragnarok is obviously going to impact this. All of the movies before this. Most of them.
Ragnarok is actually like a direct lead-in because of one of the
Pretty
post-credit
much.
scenes.
Yeah,
You see
yeah,
Thanos' ship.
Yeah, I think. Are we sure that's?
That's
ship?
Thanos' ship.
Oh, that's gonna be so good. I'm really
Or
excited.
one in a fleet, but yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah. But going back, ever since the original Avengers movie, I felt like everything has been building up to this, which has. It can be a plus or a negative, I guess.
My only regret so far is I wish we would have seen Thanos a little bit more. Just
Yeah.
it wouldn't have to be a whole lot, just a little bit more.
That's why it was so exciting in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie because we actually saw him interacting with people, not just him smiling or saying one line. He was talking to Nebula.
I think maybe I would have
more.
wanted one or two more scenes like that in some other movie, and that would have been cool. But I mean, it's nice that we at least had that. But yeah, I would have liked to see him a little bit more before now, but they didn't. That's not something they did wrong necessarily. Just a preference.
When you guys are saying that there's going to be a lot more Marvel movies after this, initially, for the last couple of years, I honestly thought that it was going to be Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, all those Marvel movies. It was going to be Avengers Infinity War, and then they would stop right there. I felt like that was going to be where it would end. Yeah. I thought that they were going to go for a long run and be like, right, this is what we have right here, and you're welcome.
The only reason I never thought that is because that's not how Hollywood works.
I guess so.
Ending things, they don't do that. That doesn't happen.
It's just
there's always a way to keep things going, to make more money, to keep people happy.
I feel like we have enough, though. I think we have a lot of Marvel superhero movies in general.
Yeah, but I'm on board with that mentality of why stop now? At least for this.
Sometimes it's
and there's so many superheroes we haven't seen yet.
It's too much cake, though. It's it's good, but
no, this is ice cream cake. You can't have too much ice cream cake. The MCU is ice cream cake, my friends. And I always have room for ice cream cake.
I don't know. It feels like it's just too much for me to handle. Like, if I want to watch...
Well, you don't have to keep watching them out.
You know I'm going to keep watching
I know
them. What
you
do
are.
you say? I'm like, I can't stop.
Wait, Alex is addicted. You guys have to stop making them so that...
Marvel, please. Just give me a break.
At this rate, we're going to have 2-3 Marvel movies a year. I mean...
We had 3 Marvel movies
There's
in this
6 if you count all the Fox ones that are coming out next year. There's 6 or so Marvel movies coming out. If you include Deadpool and the New Mutants and the new X-Men movie,
Apocalypse,
X-Men Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, Apocalypse has already come out.
Dark Phoenix. Yeah, I'm sorry, not Apocalypse. That movie sucked.
It was okay.
It was okay.
I didn't really hate it.
I really liked the first two though. Like I thought X-Men First Class.
Oh, and
this
Days of
whole
Future
series.
Past. Oh.
Yeah, I thought this whole series was gonna be awesome. And Days of Future Past was my favorite superhero movie when it came out. For
Really?
a while. Yeah,
Wow.
I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, I liked it. I
and
wanted to see
then-
more of the future though. They didn't have enough of that. I wanted to see. Well, the thing is that they had
Too much of the past, not much of the future.
Yeah, I'm just like,
Yeah.
hey, if you say future, I don't want to see the future. You know, I want to see Wolverine fighting Sentinels like.
Well,
the
it
new
was
ones.
Days of Future Past. So they did because it was the past of the future days.
Ugh.
Oh,
But we
that makes
easily
sense.
got one of the best scenes from that movie, which is the Quicksilver scene.
Yeah.
And while we're talking about Avengers, I'm still salty
Quicksilver?
about how they treated Quicksilver.
I think
in-
I think he's gonna come back. Remember the Life Stone.
Oh my god!
I think
You mean
I'm
the
still-
Reality Stone?
Whatever it is, I'm still holding out hope that he'll come back because I'm a Quicksilver fan.
I
like
know.
Quicksilver.
And see, it doesn't that suck is
He had
that
a lot of
X-Men made
potential.
everyone care about Quicksilver. They gave him a really cool personality with not having to go too deep into that. And then Avengers like, that's cool. We're gonna do
And,
none of that.
well-
We're gonna have a very plain character and then kill him off.
There are some fun things they could do with Quicksilver and Wanda and some other characters, considering a deal that they might have with 20th Century Fox soon, which we'll get into
We'll get into it.
just a
next.
few minutes.
Yes, but again, yeah, I do wish that Quicksilver could have more time because he did seem like a pretty cool character, and let's face it, it's really weird seeing Clint Barton survive because he should have been the one who died. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I know he's one of the bigger characters, but
Yeah, kind of.
as an Avenger,
He's one
how
of
does he survive?
He's one of the really big small characters.
I did like him more in Civil War. I felt like he was more
And, like,
fleshed out.
I know this is because I've never watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but what?
Don't watch it.
What happened to Coulson? Like, I'm so out of the loop. Like, how is he still alive? And like, why is he not in a movie anymore? And
So
why can't he come back for movies?
I don't know. All I know is that I've watched some of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and honestly, Agent Coulson is much, much better as a side character in the movies than in the TV show. I don't feel like he's
How
able
is
to
he still alive?
He got some Kree blood transfused in him, and then they were doing some sciencey crap to his brain, so he came back to life.
Oh, so it's not any like cool
It's-
plot
He
twist.
did
It's just-
a Frankenstein.
Yeah, it's basically
It pretty
just
much-
okay.
he
We
literally
can
did.
keep this character
He also
alive.
got his
doesn't have
arm
to die.
chopped off,
That's cool.
and then he got a robotic arm that's able to have a shield now. That is
What is he?
holographic. I don't know what he is. He's the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Woohoo!
Wow, so he literally took on the name. I am the agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I am the agent with a shield
What?
on my arm.
I know that it's really hard for them to have all these characters in movies, but I really wish that they would have the Defenders and the Punisher in these movies. I just want to see them interact with the characters.
I'd just be happy with like a name
Yeah.
drop
I
even.
want to see an interaction between Frank Castle and Steve Rogers
Well,
because
one thing we
soldiers.
can be sure of is that Marvel, with all these big group movies, will continue to push the boundaries to how many superheroes you can think can be in one movie. Because we're gonna have a lot. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy
Eventually,
alone.
we get a
get an
4-hour
old TV show.
Eventually, we get a 4-hour movie with every single character
Yeah,
that's in it.
because as it is, Guardians of the
Just
Galaxy
line them
added
up.
like 6 new characters that they have to cameo in
That's
here.
right. They also bring Guardians of the Galaxy into this
It's gonna
movie.
be so cool.
and
I
they've
love
added
it.
that. They've added the alien girl to the group.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Mantis?
yeah.
Yeah.
We literally watched the movie a couple days ago. You don't remember her?
No, I just remember she's funny. I really,
They're all funny.
the ugly puppy makes me happy. Like whatever she said, that always cracks me up.
About Rocket.
Yeah.
So, this movie has me hyped. I'll just say it. They're gonna take a lot of my money.
I'll
gonna take my money and I'm
I
gonna
will
take it
see
quick.
it more than once, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the day after. Like I'm gonna take the weekend off for it.
Wow.
Whoa! Like
Wow.
Justice League.
That's easier for me to
Yeah, you
someone who
spend-
works in retail to do.
Yeah.
Take time off for it.
Good for you.
So.
But yeah, this movie, it's got me hooked, and I haven't even seen it yet.
Yeah.
So tell us your thoughts. Are you guys excited for Infinity War? If not, why? You should be.
So this is not a yes or no.
If not, no.
There's the people who like Infinity War, the people who are excited, and the people who are wrong. Tell me why you're wrong.
If you are interested in some philosophical like questions and like what like was there something in your childhood that maybe that could come up to this?
Tell us
need
about your
counseling,
feelings
yes.
of why you don't like it.
Just drop me an IM on our website.
Oh
You mean a
man.
PM?
Back when IMs were still a thing, yeah. PMs.
Yeah.
Been watching PMs.
Yeah. Drop me a DM.
Drop me a dungeon master.
Bam! I'll have me one of those.
I'm not taking that one any farther.
Okay. Right. Moving on then. Our podcast is also brought to you by Cosplay Realm Magazine. They are a monthly internationally published cosplay magazine that launches on the 1st of every month. It was created for cosplayers by cosplayers, and they are big on crediting everyone who helped bring a cosplay to life, from the creation process to the photography process, all the way to the finished polished images. Inside, you will find 40 high-quality pages, including exclusive interviews with your favorite creators, artists, geeky fashion, makeup, and photography tutorials. You can check them out at any of their social media outlets at Cosplay Realm Magazine. For more info on how to submit and get your cosplay photography published, visit their website at cosplayrealmmagazine.com/submit. Go check it out today.
Sorry, William.
Every time.
We're just writing notes back and forth.
Yeah, clearly.
That's literally the password for their office. That's why I changed it.
Oh, that's right.
That's why I changed
That's
it.
his password for the office.
You should watch The Office.
Yeah.
Anyway,
What have you got, Wesley?
I'm gonna flip Gary, and
Flip him off.
I would actually like to talk about the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Not the past.
Because in a matter of weeks, we will hear the results of talks between 20th Century Fox and Marvel. Disney actually.
Right.
Disney is in talks to acquire 20th Century Fox, and it's only a matter of weeks before we find out the
Now,
results of that.
Let's be clear. 21st Century Fox specifically. This does not include all of Fox.
No, they're going to retain certain
Right.
things.
So Fox
their
is going to
television networks and
Yep,
whatever.
their sports networks.
Yep.
Fox
This could-
Business.
There's been talks how this could
Yeah.
help ESPN, things like that.
Yeah.
But the part where this is important is they will definitely own, if this goes through, all of the Fox-owned Marvel properties.
Yep.
Those will be theirs.
Anything movie related is going
Yes,
to be
yeah.
Disney related.
Yeah.
now.
So I have some questions for you guys. We can go through them one at a time. That's probably best. I'm going to start with, what characters do you want to see in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? And do you think they should be recasted, or do you think they should just carry them right over?
Deadpool and the Fantastic Four. Recast the Fantastic Four.
please.
Deadpool? No.
Just-
I actually want to see Fantastic Four.
Yes, I was like,
I do.
make a
Yeah.
Fantastic Four that we care about.
That's
Because
Fantastic.
I want to see the Thing and the Hulk become
yeah,
buddies.
that's
That'd be cool.
pretty
That'd
good
be amazing.
dynamic.
I'm pro Fantastic
That would
Four.
be fantastic.
Yeah.
I would be all
Obviously-
for it.
obviously-
I just said that.
Obviously, you don't recast Ryan Reynolds. I don't think that'll be a problem. I think they'll just be like, all right, this R-rated thing works. We're going to put it off in this corner. Let you guys keep doing that.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
But I mean,
He should show up.
And then I think he'll show up in the MCU, but it'll be, I think...
it should be
should do-
cameo at best.
Yes,
at least.
Cameo, and he actually takes the F-bomb.
I think he should be
With PG-13.
a Hulk-like character in the MCU, where he doesn't have his own MCU movies. It's more just like MCU characters cameo in his movies, and he cameos in theirs movies.
Because so
Spider-Man,
PG-13.
Deadpool. We need to see that.
So
Yeah.
PG-13 movies, they're I believe allowed
There's
only
one
one F-bomb.
and they
Can
haven't
Deadpool be the cameo for the sole purpose of taking
Yes.
that one F-bomb?
Yeah, I that would be okay with that.
MCU movies.
He would just appear and everyone would go, fudge! Like,
I was scared first. I was like, whoa, we can't say that on here. But yeah, what was it? They haven't even used the F-bomb yet in Marvel movies. Like, they've been close. They've either bleeped it out, or they've, like, finished it, or, like, they've stopped.
Oh, they've done the whole thing where they make
Yeah.
a loud noise appear right when they're about to say the word.
Yeah.
Well, you remember in Spider-Man Homecoming where he takes off he takes off the mask, and then Aunt May comes in, and she's like, what the f-? And then it stops.
Yeah.
like the classic.
Aunt
Yeah,
May.
just
Like,
film
get this
nice.
woman a husband.
What?
Get this boy an uncle. No, you haven't seen the memes where like Black Panther is like, get this man a shirt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was just like, no, he's just
Went through a
fine.
whole end of those. Anyway, I'm really excited. So I'm really excited to see the Fantastic Four. I'm really excited. So you guys are probably not on board with this, but I'm really excited to see a new set of X-Men, including Wolverine. And I want them to I want them to recast all of the X-Men for the MCU.
So,
You want
I want a
interesting,
new X-Men.
interesting news about that. There's only rumors so far, but apparently there's rumors about Hugh Jackman being interested in being involved.
You want
No! I don't want him as Wolverine anymore! I don't!
So
I'm all done with that.
Let's be honest. If Hugh Jackman comes back, I'd imagine it'd be a cameo with probably minor significance. It wouldn't be a cameo like in First Class when he literally had that 2-second scene.
Mm-hmm.
I'd imagine like they come to him for advice or something like that. He's got like a 2-minute bit basically. That's what I envision him doing. I don't see
Because-
him doing a major character anymore, but I think he would love to be the one to carry that torch into the...
And that's fair, but like honestly, I feel like Disney acquiring Fox's Marvel characters is a perfect opportunity for them to recast Wolverine.
I mean, yes, but there's so many... The X-Men, because it's also weird because the X-Men movies is the one successful thing that Fox is going. Well, no, there's Deadpool now. That's new. But the X-Men series is the one great thing that they've had going for them, and that's probably the only reason why they've been trying to make super. Like if X-Men was a failure, they'd probably have given up rights to.
Oh yeah,
superhero
they
things.
would have
If X-Men was a
succeeded to
failure,
this.
we probably wouldn't have all the Marvel movies or superhero movies that we'd
They
have
did
now.
help.
Yeah.
Blade and stuff.
When those were successful and then also still going, it kind of makes it a sticky subject about what they want to do about that and whether if they like obviously they want to use it, but how they're going to because they're Marvel is, I'm sure, still focused on trying to incorporate the millions of characters they have at their disposal for their big movies. And now, like, I'm sure they're more excited at the fact that they could and now own these huge characters as well.
Yeah.
But it's a lot at once. It's because they've already got all these movies planned, and they're like,
this is pre-existing history.
I think this is really working for them though, because like we were talking about with Infinity War is going to change a lot, and there's going to be a lot that
That's
won't
right, they
be
could
happening.
change it.
There's going to be a lot that we won't see anymore after Infinity War. Like characters are going to be bye-bye. So it'd be the perfect time
And also,
to bring some of these characters in.
Because of the
And
Infinity Stones.
X-Men.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
well, because of the Infinity Stones, they could change the reality so that if the X-Men didn't exist in that universe at that point, it could combine them in some way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just.
But like if this goes through, and I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that it's going to. They are going to capitalize on the X-Men inclusion. Like that's going to be, I guarantee you, that'll be one of the first things that they come out with is an idea for the X-Men for the MCU.
they have to start brainstorming pretty quickly.
Yeah, and personally, I'm really excited about that because the X-Men is one of my favorite parts of the Marvel brand. I love the X-Men. I'm a huge X-Men fan.
For those who don't know, Wolverine is my favorite superhero, so I'm very excited to see. Well, first off,
I think it would be. I think this is going to be good.
I'm excited for it.
I think they should go back to what they used to do and cast a talented yet not well-known actor for the role of Wolverine. Somebody who fits the role better. No offense. I want to see somebody play Wolverine that embodies the idea of Wolverine.
Might I add something different?
I want to see him.
I'd rather them try to utilize new X-Men characters because there's a billion X-Men
they're going
characters.
to, but
no.
Girl.
But Wolverine is not.
Yeah, Squirrel Girl.
Wolverine is
Squirrel Girl.
Yes.
Wolverine is not the main character of X-Men. That's something that happened in the movies that was new. They don't have to continue that. Just because that's what we're used to.
Actually, gonna have to check you on that. I don't know if that's true.
Well, X-Men. Oh, Cyclops was a really big character, but in the movies,
so they need to and Marvel's really good at doing this. We'll get a good Cyclops. I want to see a really good Iceman. I'm an Iceman fan. I like Iceman. People like Jubilee. And Rogue.
She literally didn't do
Storm.
anything in the
I know, but
movie.
Jubilee's a cool character.
I was gonna
that was a mistake.
I was gonna say they're gonna have a really hard time replacing Patrick Stewart, but then I just remembered they kind of already have, so they can just transition him into the older Professor X. It's like they've already got that going for them because that was also like
and that's the thing. But if it's going to be confusing. They either recast the X-Men or they don't use anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, that's the same
No.
thing. They either recast the X-Men or they use all of the same
I will
cast.
say, if there is anything, with the exception of Deadpool, if there's anything that makes sense for, because we've seen a few mergers in the past of like franchises, if there's ever a time that makes sense to reuse actors like into this merge, it would be X-Men, honestly, because there is so much history with these things. It's not like things like Batman and Spider-Man where they change actors all the times. You know, this has been a very the only times we've had actor changes in the X-Men franchise is because of the time differences from things like First Class and Days of Future Past. That's the only time we've seen difference in actors.
Yeah.
So they have a really consistent streak and well-built thing upon that, and it's still ongoing, and that's the part that really makes it weird, is that it's still happening. Is this just going to come to a complete standstill, and are we literally going to see 2 X-Men movies in the same year potentially?
No, that wouldn't happen that fast.
I
So I think it's more my preference that I would rather see. I'm not particularly attached to any of the actors who are playing X-Men characters at the moment, and I don't think any. And
so disagree with you.
And I don't think any of them fit the mood or tone of the Marvel universe. Maybe that's just the directing.
I mean, okay.
I don't know.
See, that is a fair point, that they are a different spin, but in a good way. You know, they are just a different take on what. Like, for instance, we can see that with Quicksilver. X-Men, like Fox took something very different from Quicksilver than Disney did, and
they practically reinvented him.
Yeah, and everybody freaking loves Quicksilver from that, and people started to care about him. I heard people talking about his scene in the medical room or whatever for ages, and they did it again in the Days of Apocalypse too, and I love that. That was arguably one of the best scenes of that movie, actually. And
that's another. Sorry, we were talking about big Marvel villains. That's another one. Apocalypse. He doesn't just terrorize the X-Men. He's terrorized the whole universe before. So that'd be another cool opportunity. He's one of the big guns.
That's nice.
I would. Yeah. So personally, I would like to see some sort of mixture of reuse, recycle, and new. And I don't want them. The one thing I don't want is that I don't want them to use nothing and pretend that like nothing happened in the past 15 years of X-Men. That's the one thing I don't want to happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Do they have a rogue? I forget. Do they have a rogue in the X-Men Future First Class?
No, characters? In an extended cut, they did have Rogue from the original series show up in the future, but I don't think.
Yeah, they haven't recast that for the younger version.
I understand not wanting to scrap the whole thing, but I feel like it'd be a good opportunity too. So that's just
I understand if there's an opportunity to do it. This is obviously the time to do it, but just because you can doesn't mean you need to.
I know, but I mean, Marvel's like some situations that they'd need to figure out for that, or like what are they going to do with Wolverine, because they are going to have Wolverine. You don't acquire the X-Men and not use Wolverine. Yeah, you don't do that.
And I'm sure they would, and that's all the more reason to want them to convince Hugh Jackman to do some things, because I understand that, but you would be, from a strictly business point of view, you have to understand that he's got quite the following.
I know.
You have to understand that you're the minority here.
Hugh Jackman's portrayal of Wolverine actually made me less of a Wolverine fan.
Okay, well, it made a lot more people like myself.
I gravitated to other characters.
We won't get too much into that because you wrote a whole article.
Oh, I know.
So
go read my article on Wolverine. It's really good and long.
if you want to see Wesley's Minority Report, you can check in there.
Yeah. Come join me on my side. That's what she said.
What?
That was two sentences. Those were not the same sentence.
So another thing that is interesting is Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver are mutants, but they're not in the MCU.
Yeah,
they had to change it. So however they deal with that is going to be funny.
Yeah, that's. I hate how they handled them in general.
Yeah.
Oh.
They couldn't use the word mutant or the idea of mutant because that was a right
were in the Marvel movies, though.
I'm glad they are too. But yeah, so they'll have to deal with that, and whatever comes of the new Mutants movie that's coming out this year, that will have to be dealt with somehow. So, actually, considering things like that, there might
This is
it
gonna
might
be a
make
really
sense for them
tricky road for
to
them.
merge a little bit.
Yeah, because like I said, because that's the biggest thing that it is that it's still ongoing, which makes it
Yeah.
weird because we haven't had that before. Because like Fantastic Four, they've tried and they tried and they failed, so it makes sense to do like great reboot from a completely different standpoint. We can completely disregard to like none of that ever happened. They never had a good thing going. We could pretend that. And the other scenario when you do have a good thing going is that it was a while ago and people are ready for a new take on it. This feats neither of those scenarios. People are more than content with the X-Men series, and it's still going on with. And we're.
I wouldn't say more than content with it.
Yeah, no.
I think the X-Men series right now is above average.
That's what I mean. Content would be average.
I know, but you said more than content.
Yeah. So you said above average. That's
I don't
more
know.
than
More
content.
content makes it sound
I'm
like
using
you're
those
really
terms.
happy.
It sounds different. Yeah.
Okay. Whatever.
I'm by above average. I would say that they're probably like a 60 right now.
60? Average is not 50.
You don't think average is 50%?
No.
What's average then?
50 is not good, not
50 is
bad.
right in the middle. Average is right in the middle.
Average is probably like 70%.
Average
Yeah.
is 70%. Then
Yeah.
the X-Men are below
See.
average. I would get on a scale from 1 to 10. I'd put the X-Men and their current state at like a 6.5.
That makes sense.
Like a good but not great and a not bad kind of thing. Like okay, it's there and I enjoy
You're
it, but it's
indifferent
not
about them.
notable.
Yeah.
Hey, I have a say too. I love the
I
X-Men.
will say, from a different franchise, Deadpool. There's been a lot of talks about people immediately assuming that Disney's going to screw it up because Disney doesn't do R-rated films. But I would like to point out to the fact that last year
they're gaining all those people. I think
Well-
those personnel. They're not just going to.
not only that, but I would point to last year when the amazing movie called Logan came out. That was an R-rated film.
It came out this year.
It was this year.
Yep, March.
Wow, it was this year. Wow, it just felt so long ago.
That wasn't a Disney movie. You know that, right?
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Oh no, what? No, it wasn't. No.
No, it wasn't.
Sorry.
Disney doesn't do R.
That was Fox movie too. That was another one of
Okay,
their
so
movies.
wow, I completely disregard that point
Yeah.
then.
No, I think what they're going to
Disney
do,
isn't edgy.
like I said, I think with Deadpool, they'll just be like, okay, that's super successful. People really like it. We're just going to let you keep doing that over there.
And
You know what
they,
I mean?
they would be
I
stupid
think,
not
I think
to.
they'll do that
Especially with the when is Deadpool 2 coming out?
Next year.
very soon.
Yeah.
It's like is it summer? Or is
think
it
it's
like
summer.
spring? It's
So-
earlier
So that
next
movie's
year.
already happening, and
Yeah.
it's I would be very hard pressed to believe it wouldn't be close to as good as the first one. And so the following for that's only going to grow,
Yeah.
and Disney is going to be looking at the numbers and being like, well,
Disney is very good at knowing what they have, and I'm pretty confident they'll see that as an asset and just let it be.
Yes, but Disney tends to not be edgy with their movies. Like their movies are usually pretty squeaky clean or family friendly.
well, that's why they can make a separate division. We're basically assuming at this point that they're going to have 21st Century Fox.
Is it a contract or is it are they going to be buying?
No, they're straight up buying.
They're buying them. They will acquire.
Also,
these
on the terms of
properties.
buying, I would like to compare this to the fact that the current deal that we have heard of right now is $60 billion. To put that into perspective, Disney bought Star Wars as a franchise, arguably one of the biggest, most successful franchises of all time, for $4 billion. Not even close to this buyout.
yeah, but they're acquiring a lot more than a franchise.
I
They're acquiring a whole
realize
other
that,
company.
but put that
I like
on the
Star
parts of
Wars.
it.
put that on the scale of like what the weight of this is as far as in terms of companies merging. Like this is a big deal.
There's 6 companies and that are called the Big Six. Disney is basically eating one of the other 6. This is huge.
Yeah.
This is giant. This is big. It is bigger than Star Wars.
Well,
it really is.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
well, no, because from a consumer standpoint, you may not be able to see that
just from
because,
straight numbers, they're acquiring more.
Just because Star Wars is so dominant that it's its own identity beyond what its creators are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you talk about Disney films, you're talking about Disney films. When you're talking about Star Wars, you're not talking about the
Disney film person.
You're not talking about
Yeah.
Lucasfilms. You're talking
No,
about Star
when
Wars.
yeah, exactly. When they acquired Star Wars, they acquired a property. When they acquired 20th Century Fox assets, they would be acquiring properties.
Disney did acquire Lucasfilms and all
Yeah,
the stuff
but
like
I
that.
mean, that's all-
Yeah, but exactly when they were talking about that deal, they weren't talking like people didn't refer to it as Disney taking Lucasfilms. They were talking about
Star
Disney
Wars.
Star Wars. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is different. You know.
Yeah, because they got Indiana Jones and all that. Which,
Yeah.
Where are those movies?
Mm.
Cast Chris Pratt as Indiana Jones and let's get some of those.
Ooh.
Seriously. Like,
However, that's a great idea.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
I never...
I'm not
I don't
even-
know how you haven't heard of that. That's
No.
like all
That's
over
been
the internet.
around. Yeah, I didn't
Wow.
come up with that.
That's
But it's great. It's a good idea.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
I never...
Seriously.
If there's ever a person who... And I'm sure there's going to be people who could disagree with me in this because Harrison Ford is of course amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But I have yet to see a movie where Chris Pratt is a part of that I don't like, to be honest.
Yeah.
And... Yeah.
Thanks, Parks and Rec.
I know, right? And, yeah.
Thank you for giving that gift.
I mean,
of Chris
whether
Pratt.
he is
Don't watch
doing live
Passengers.
action... Passengers?
Don't
It
watch
wasn't
it.
good?
Yeah, don't.
I want to watch it, though.
Don't wa-
Because it's also got Jennifer
kinda
Lawrence,
watched
and I
it.
like Jennifer
I don't
Lawrence.
like her.
Well,
I
that
did
explains
like
why you
her.
don't like...
I was gonna keep that to myself, but I don't like Jennifer Lawrence.
Well, she doesn't like
I
you,
used to.
probably.
That's okay. She can go away.
She's not going anywhere.
She plays Mystique, and she plays
I don't care.
Katniss. I have a lot of
like
reasons to
Katniss.
like her.
That's another thing is the X-Men movies lately have made too big a deal out of Mystique. I mean, she's cool, but whatever.
Well, you could argue the same thing about X-Men. About Wolverine. I'm sorry.
No, Wolverine is a big deal. They like blew Mystique up to Wolverine proportions, and she doesn't. That's disrespectful.
They did make her
Anyway.
character a lot bigger after
Yeah.
the First Class movie,
Yeah.
I think. But also Jennifer Lawrence. Sorry.
You're again in the minority, Wesley.
It's okay, Wesley.
You guys will just when Disney finally does X-Men right, you guys will know.
So
What
so
I'm talking about.
we know of. So there's X-Men.
Mhm.
There's Deadpool, and there's
Fantastic Four.
Is there any other franchises we need to be aware about that will be in this transfer?
I don't know.
Off the top of my head.
Because Hulk is owned by Universal, so that's.
But yet
that's
but
not
Disney
included.
still has stuff for that.
They've done I think they've done a Spider-Man style partnership
Right.
with Universal for
And
that.
so, with
Um,
that being said, that means that Disney will have acquired everything Marvel.
Oh,
by
Namor. Namor. You guys might know who
The
know who that is.
Submariner.
Namor the Submariner. He was the first Atlantean superhero because he predates Aquaman. One of Marvel's few characters that they did before DC.
He also had a short romantic life with Susan Storm from
Yeah.
Fantastic Four.
And Namor is really cool. So that's another one.
And
They'll get
with
Namor.
a potentially successful Aquaman movie on our horizon, that could
open up the door for underwater
Yeah.
stories. So when we were talking about new characters for the MCU, that was actually one of the first ones that popped into my head when we were talking about Infinity War. Namor is a really cool
so
superhero
Fox
for them
somehow
to
got
do.
that and they never used it.
Yeah. Yeah. So when we're done with this episode, go look up Namor. We'll talk about him. He's cool.
Yeah. He also, I think, in the comics, he also, I think he fought alongside Captain America in
I
World
think
War
so.
II.
He's a king of Atlantis.
Wow.
Yeah. He's cool.
Yeah.
He's very cool.
He's kind
So
of a
Namor, Fantastic Four, X-Men.
Anything outside of superheroes that we should be aware of?
Oh, I didn't look into that.
Yeah, I didn't
No,
think
I
so.
didn't look
But
into
that's
that.
all
I was
everyone's
kinda
talking.
like-
So
yeah.
granted, that's all that anyone's talking about. I know this is taking up a lot more than just that.
It's. I mean, at least it's all that I'm hearing about because I'm
Right.
really deep into
Well,
the
because I'm sure
superhero world.
Well, not only that, but that's where the money is right now.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm sure everyone's talking about and what they're talking about because that's the peak interest. Of course, there's other benefits. I just didn't know if there's anything off the top of your head that you want to talk about.
Wasn't 20th Century Fox originally, like, one of the producers of Star Wars? They were, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
They're credited. Yeah. Well, you see their. I think you see their logo pop up
Yeah,
from
yeah,
the
yeah.
starts. The original.
So I think that's funny that they're going to be bought by the people who bought Star Wars. Yeah.
Disney's
Oh,
getting
so-
scary.
Yeah.
Disney's going to own everything,
So that's
dude.
why I'm really glad that Disney's
Scary.
not also buying Fox itself because I was actually scared about that happening. And then I find out later
I don't think
it's
that
not
could
that
happen. I don't know if that's possible. That'd be crazy.
But yeah, Disney's scary right now.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, when you have money like Disney, I mean.
Mhm. I'm really excited to see what they do with those.
I mean, you gotta think about with Disney at this point, all their sub departments could forever run. Disney themselves doesn't have to do anything. They have the Pixar division, they have the Marvel division, and those two alone could forever keep the company in well standing. You know.
Yep.
They also have their own, like, animation department, not just
Oh, I know.
Pixar.
Oh no, that's what I mean. Is that they could never make a regular just straight up Disney film ever again and still be completely fine with all their subdivisions of companies that they have. It's amazing.
Oh, one thing that Marvel will be able to use Doctor Doom He's a Fantastic Four character.
Yes.
I'm really excited about that because Doctor Doom is probably the Marvel Universe's best villain.
Not Thanos.
No. I mean, like, Thanos is cool, but I mean, on
Doctor
like
Doom is
on like
so-
a character level, Doctor Doom is really interesting.
Can
He's
they actually
very
make
cool.
him smart in these movies, please?
He's supposed to.
But like,
He's
yeah,
supposed to
like
be smart,
in the early shows,
He's like Marvel's best villain in my opinion.
he's very important. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at some.
So though that's also a very important character requirement.
Yeah.
All I know is that we're just all really, really excited about a lot of stuff.
Really super
Super excited.
super excited.
Kill me.
The pun counter is off the charts today.
There should have just like a whiteboard with every time you guys make a pun or a stupid joke.
Hey, new set. I can make that happen.
Marvel already owns these characters, but just to throw out some ideas, I'm hoping they'll do a Nova movie soon.
That would be cool.
Silver Surfer is another one they will acquire from Fox.
Yes,
because that's
and
Fantastic
you know
Four
that
technically.
That has to happen.
That'll happen. He's
Yeah.
cool. So Nova they already own. I'd like to see. We're gonna see. I kind of wish she was still called Miss Marvel. That's just but Captain Marvel will be coming out, and that'll be cool. Yeah, Moon Knight they already own. I'd hope they do a Netflix style show for Moon
Isn't there a TV
Knight.
show with Moon Knight, or is that Cloak and Dagger?
That's Cloak and Dagger.
Okay.
But Moon Knight is a character that would fit in with the Netflix universe. Yeah. I don't know who owns Blade, but I'd love to see Blade soon. He's he'd be a good Netflix pick.
I don't want to get too deep into it, but how do you think X-Men would do as a TV format?
Very well.
I think that would
Very
be a great
well.
I'd want to
opportunity.
see that. I'd watch
They
that.
would, if they decided to do that, what if they did a TV show that tied in with a series of movies, like they did MCU movies for X-Men, but all at the same time there was a TV show that tied with it too.
Right.
That didn't use those characters. Maybe they were smaller characters. Maybe characters like Jubilee and stuff like that, and other students were in the TV
I think
show.
that'd be a really smart way to test the waters of the X-Men universe to start with the TV show because
the
you have
X-Men
so many...
are a big universe on their own. There's
Yes.
a lot of X-Men.
Yeah, like how does X-Men as
keep
a
looking.
franchise compare to DC? Like, I don't know.
They have more movies.
No, DC is
It's
bigger.
still bigger? Okay.
Yeah, because DC's huge. I mean, one thing most people don't know it because of Marvel's popularity, but DC predates Marvel,
Oh yeah, no, I know
and
that.
a lot of they have created a lot of characters that Marvel has not copied. Has like they've taken advantage of the popularity of that concept.
Yeah,
So like.
with the exception of Superman.
Yeah, so like Deathstroke predates Deadpool, but
Yep.
Deadpool ended up being more popular.
Yep.
In the opposite, Marvel created Namor first, and then DC created Aquaman. Aquaman ended up being more popular. So they've shared a little bit. So DC's equivalent to X-Men. Someone out there is going to know it probably, but it's blanking for me. But yeah, DC itself is bigger than the X-Men.
Would it be like Teen Titans, maybe?
Maybe. That's still smaller scale.
Yeah.
Their teams are like 4 or 5 each in different cities. They're spread.
Awesome. Well, with that, bring this episode to a close, and with that, the season. I want to thank everyone for watching this in our first load of episodes. And one thing that I will announce right here is that coming next season, we will have weekly episodes, not bi-weekly episodes. You can expect a lot more content from us. We are super excited. We feel like we got a really good flow going now, and we would continue to love to hear your input on everything and everything that you like and don't like about our podcast.
Also,
So-
tell us about stuff that you might want us to talk about.
Absolutely. We have other announcements coming as well.
Okay.
That's the only one I'm going to say here on the podcast because I feel like that's relevant for the podcast. But like I said at the beginning, keep an eye on geekkind.tv for other new exciting updates because we do have lots of exciting things coming.
Lots of exciting things coming.
Yep.
Thank you for being a part of our passion project. Really, William's passion project. I mean, we all love this. We're all really involved, but This is William's baby, and I'm excited. I'm
And
excited.
in turn,
that
I can't do this alone.
Yeah,
so thank you guys as much for making this happen.
it's becoming all of our like child, like
This
Alex
is getting
and I
weird,
are,
guys.
are like
This is
the
getting weird.
uncles. And,
Stop! Oh, what's going on?
but just it's been fun, and it'll just gonna
continue
get
to
better.
be fun.
Yeah.
This baby.
So
I like how you said it will continue to be fun.
stay kind, geeks.
Inconceivable. 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 Inconceivable.